somehow. Nico, are you there?
Nico the Adventurer is connecting to audio.
He's connecting to audio. Good.
I'm totally counting on you to make this look as professional as possible.
How?
You are the fixer.
Come on, this is a comedy act.
Yes, I know that.
Do you think I know what I'm doing?
We'll see.
I couldn't.
Hey guys, this is Nick.
Hey, hi Nick.
Hey Fred.
Hey,
Or is that Wayne?
Yeah, I'm here. I got the I got all kinds of things going on here.
Stuff is it's so random. We never know what's going to walk in the door. You know, and it's kind of nice to do it industrially because then you can go on the internet and frantically search for stuff, which makes it so much better.
I have this really intense LED flashlight, and I wasn't aware that the batteries were getting so low on it. But fortunately,
it dropped below the voltage threshold.
Yeah, and it just plain went out on me. And it's like, that was kind of shocking. And wonder what happens if I charge the batteries.
Bang.
Easy fix.
Yeah, they do drop out like that because they've got a threshold voltage below which they're incredibly inefficient. So the circuitry actually says below some arbitrary amount, like 4 or 3.6 or something, we're just not going to work. And the thing just cuts out like that. And you think, what the hell did I do? It turns out, as you say, you just charge it. That's always the first step with those beasts. But it is abrupt. I mean, you're used to like a normal, if you had normal lead acid batteries, like a couple of C cells in a flashlight, you normally just see the thing get weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yep.
Yep.
There's circuitry. I purchased from Zebralight. I purchased a headlamp back in 2012 when I started all my travels. And literally it conked out on me in this last year. And it was doing some little flaky stuff, and then it finally quit. And couldn't get it replaced. But the nice thing about it is it goes from a high level to a medium level to a low level. Now you can select all of those until the battery power is not capable of supporting the other ones. It flickers a little bit and then drops to the lower one. At the lowest level, it'll go like 24 hours. And I don't think I've ever seen it go away, but I know my batteries are getting low and it's time to change. It's just that I was out in the dark when this big light failed, and it's like, shit.
Yeah. What's plan B?
Yeah.
Cigarette lighter.
So yeah, learning curve.
Yeah. It's better than learning wall.
Yeah, I hate hitting walls. Hey, but life is a bit better and easier for all of us. We've had some significant political changes since I talked to you guys last.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all going to be perfect from now on.
Perfect. No, perfect, but not. But what I think we've got is now we can exhale.
A little bit.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
I'm actually reading Obama's book, and you know, it's what's ironic is, you know, you just change the names and the faces and the story is the same thing. It's still an uphill climb, but one of the best things that I encountered this morning, for the life of me, I wish I could remember the gentleman's name. Saw this video. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get an answer to this for you. I actually posted it on my Facebook page. You guys would enjoy watching it. Am I the only one talking? You guys disappeared on.
Oh, no, I'm noodling around working on this coin-op thing while I'm listening.
Got it.
yeah, me too. I'm going to be running the vacuum cleaner in a minute too. This Mac is full of dust. Dust doesn't really do good things.
You know, you got to get Wayne. You got to get a hold of Micah.
I know. I don't even have his email, so I was given an erroneous email he scribbled down, and it never worked.
Ah,
So there's another contact on Facebook I used before, and I'll just go back to that route.
Is Micah the young kid?
yeah.
That's right. Our apprentice, yeah.
What's his name? I'll see if I can look him up on Facebook.
Has he got a last name?
Yeah, good question. I avoided all these things because I've had trouble in the past with parents, right? They get all uppity and nervous, or something bad happens, and then I get blamed for something that I never knew was going to happen.
Well, there's that.
He's a young kid, so and
Yeah.
we're manipulating him. so I had to be sort of cautious of what other people observe.
Well,
we're getting to open all the boxes we're not supposed to open.
to be charitable, he manipulates us too. Quite honestly.
Yeah, he started out that way.
Yeah.
By eating all the cake. That was good.
Yeah. But you know what? He's evolved into a really good fixer.
I think so. And that's why we should get him back. And he can even have some computers, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's why I mentioned it, because I think you're onto something there. I think he would be heroic at what you're doing.
Oh, he definitely wants computers. That's all he could talk about every time I go there. Wayne, give me that computer. And it's just like, when? And it's just like, oh, gee, I don't have the time, and now I do.
Nico, you might not know this, but we got given a substantial number of computers, essentially.
What kind?
Oh, it's everything. I got 5 Macs and 20 PCs.
And what Wayne has been doing is loading Linux on them and making them into Repair Cafe clients. On the off chance that we were going to continue, and we may still continue this Zoom effort, somebody brings you something to be fixed. They drop it off at Wayne's, and Wayne hands them the computer, and it's got Zoom client installed on it, and it's Linux. So they just have to boot it and double click, and then they're part of the club, because we've already Wayne has preset them so that they'll go straight to the app. I went up to get this coin-op machine, which broke at the Sea Salt Library. And the acting chief of librarian accosted me and said, "When do you want to do a repair cafe here?" And so the upshot of that is we're going to go back into business. The other 2 venues, Sunnycrest and 3 venues, Sunnycrest and Clayton's and the Gibson's library, all lack courage.
Well, you know what's really interesting? It's like, this is all personal experience, but it has to do with COVID. And so I've gone from that to coming down here into basically toxicology central. And I've been diligently wearing my mask, but I have not stepped on or near anything without the mask, and stayed away from crowds. And so far it's working.
Sure. And it should work. It should work.
Yeah.
I think post-COVID, once we've all had a vaccine of one form or another, we may not wear masks, but I'm sure sanitizers are going to be general use in every store and creation, and that alone will reduce the annual flu and cold transmission probably by more than half.
Well, they've been talking about flu down here and how it's been affected by people wearing masks.
Yeah.
The number of people that got the flu has dropped by greater than 80%.
Is that not amazing?
And it's like, I knew it was happening because I wasn't getting sinus infections, and that's the only thing I ever get.
Well, there you go. It works. Sanitation works. And if we do it on a mass scale like this, and sanitation is not onerous, I think everybody can agree to take a squirt of some sort of alcohol or antibacterial based cleanser on the way into a store For you to do that on the way in and on the way out after you've touched a bunch of shit that other people have touched, I
Yeah.
think you're 90% of the way there. And if people just naturally, it's like Moses parting the water. You walk through a store even with a mask on, and people scatter. It's the weirdest thing.
You know what? Just being able to talk to you guys is awesome. But, you know, we're all the same mind and such. And I have a couple friends that I call that we have great conversations, but I haven't talked to you guys in so long. It's just good to be able to communicate.
What the hell? You too. Um, we've now been more than a year with, or sorry, we have not been more than a year, but we had 2.5 years of repair cafes, and suddenly we were kneecapped.
Yeah.
So Wayne and I have been sort of climbing the walls, trying to get back into it.
I know. I did some pretty I guess wrong-headed things to try and keep that thing going.
Well,
I was so upset with the shopping mall.
oh, we had all sorts of fun with Sam, and the shopping mall's in no great shakes.
No, I just, I just said, what am I going to do? I'll just wear a hazmat suit or something.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to get through this process. And then it's just an uphill battle. So I just gave up.
You're a million miles ahead of me. You unscrewed the lid and you've got all the wires hanging out there. My God, is this what you routinely do to these Macs?
Yeah.
This isn't
Sure.
an all-in-one machine, right? You got a hard drive and
Oh, well, actually, that's it. This has been somebody's been in here before. So look, no hard drive.
oh yeah.
So now what? Well, guess what? I have some other hard drives.
Well, the nice thing about that is that if you've got another hard drive with an OS on it, with an operating system, a Mac operating system on it, there'll be no copy protection because you're not going to have one of these machines without the Mac ROMs in it. So they don't require any sort of copy protection. That's better.
So in the box of stuff, there was my son was like, Dad, have you seen all this stuff in this box? And I said, no, what's in there? And he's like pulling all these things out. There's all these external hard drives. And some of them are, a whole terabyte. So it's not bad.
So are they PC or Mac?
They're PC, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, there's definitely an issue with not having enough cables. I don't even have enough power supplies. That's the big one.
Well, that's the beauty of the USB is the USB can run that thing as an external drive. You can even pop the drive out of that case and just go around it.
I know this one's magically held together with something special, but I can't see where it starts.
Where's the plugs?
Plugs are in here.
Okay, what do you got for a plug there?
That's just power in and a USB.
Oh, okay. So it's already pre-done to USB. Okay, so you just need a USB to USB.
But I just want to take the hard drive out and put it directly in the computer.
So I've talked to several. I've actually taken some of these apart, but not this model. It looks like a Western Digital.
Could be.
Is that a WD?
Yeah.
So I've had one of these apart before.
Okay, how do you get in?
So I'm trying to remember if this one has got a snap lid or it's a slide out. It might be a slide out.
Yeah. You're probably right.
But I don't have one here to look at, so I can't help you. I've had the smaller ones apart, but I've not had the larger ones apart.
I've got some others too, but I just wanted to get this one apart.
Yeah, it'll be a snap fit, but that whole section with the grill might be a separate part, like a C-shaped part. It slides off.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the book and the contents might come apart.
If we hear that loud snap, we'll know we got in.
Oh yeah, no, I think I can see some tabs in there. Well, the loud snap doesn't bother me at all. This is all junk, right?
Yeah, you're in extra innings. I mean, you're kind of looking for body parts now. I'm on the official Repair Cafe ThinkPad here, which Wayne picked up at London Drugs for what, $400? I think it was $399.
That's right. Yeah, it was a good deal.
8 gigs of RAM, solid state drive, works beautifully. The N key doesn't work, so I try to avoid anything with an N, which makes you eco, the adventurer.
It's just a hard press N, that's all.
There was something that just popped on the screen that said something about you've been upgraded to unlimited minutes on Zoom.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, we're such poor customers. They just keep telling us we can do better things.
When they have spare capacity, they dole it out. At 10 o'clock in 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning, you won't get that. But Sunday afternoon, when you got a bunch of guys farting around with hardware, they hand it out.
Yeah.
I got it.
They're trying to get us hooked. It's an addiction process. As soon as we get used to doing this thing and we do it frequently, then they ding us.
Look at that. It worked. The C came out.
Gee, yeah,
Nice.
what a fight.
Yeah.
Did it snap out or I missed it? Did it snap out or did
There was snaps and pops and bangs. And there's all kinds of clips holding it in.
I didn't hear the pops and the bangs, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, the Zoom is pretty good at muting things. We've had this spectacular thing of huge noises and nothing comes out on the video.
Are you wearing a headset?
Me headset and then the
Microphone?
the microphone is a Rode headset. I had this microphone here. I have 6 cameras in here.
Jesus, I feel like a pauper.
But I don't use them all. I just kind of like was thinking, well, I could put that one there, but then it doesn't actually help. So I kind of eliminated a lot of stuff and gathered a lot. Yeah.
Good thing you're in integrity, because it's like, somebody with less integrity would be doing strange things with 6 cameras.
It absolutely wasn't. It wasn't intentional. It was just provisional.
I'm going to use that. Somebody with less integrity would be doing strange things with 6 cameras. Boy, you nailed it.
I was trying to figure out how to say it without using certain words. I think it came out okay.
Yeah, no, you navigated the shoals beautifully. That was well done.
So this is a made in Thailand, 2008. So it's pretty old.
Probably 750 megs or 2 gig?
320 gig.
320 gig, a third of a terabyte.
Yeah,
and it's 12 years old. That's not bad.
It's not bad. It'll work.
Oh.
Bigger than a thumb drive.
And it's a 5 1/4. It's the bigger one. So it's, the big SATA 3.5.
Yeah.
What's that little Chrome thing attached to it?
That's the power supply. It's kind of weird. They just hooked one on in there.
It's a standalone unit. You can plug it in the wall too, right?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Yeah, so that'll be your DC converter.
Now it's on speaker view, so whoever makes the most noise gets to win.
That's what I was noticing.
I love this technology.
I'm just going to swing this up for a second. This thing, the great unwashed, is a coin-op machine that was running the photocopiers at the Seashalt Library. And so it stood like a kiosk on the floor between 2 photocopiers. People could put money in the top, and the thing will allow you a certain number of photocopies. And at one point, 18 months ago, it died, or it stopped taking coins. And the company that manufactured it is in Toronto, and they wanted $1,200 for the privilege of examining it. But they said for $4,500 you can have a brand new one with a bill reader, and so they gave up and they bought the new one. And then we got a contact from the library saying, "Oh, could you think you'd like to come along and fix it?" And of course I said yes. So this pedestal unit is like a vending machine, except you don't get Coke out of it. It's got AC power going in, and there's an AC power supply. So I've got an AC plug. And there are two cables coming out of it, one with a 15-pin connector for one photocopier, and another one with a DB9 9-pin connector, or I got to do this looking up, for another photocopier. A really odd connector, which I thought connected to the coin sort mechanism, which doesn't. And then there's a bin for coins. And coin columns, quarter, dimes, nickels, and a place for something. So when I received it, it had everything except the something. And after a couple of weeks of looking, the Seashell Library found the something, and fitting in that gap, that gray gap, this. And this is the brains of the unit. And the company that made this, ITC Systems in Toronto, did not make this. The Coin Pro is made by a company in the States. And these are kind of the General Motors of coin sorters. So this box sits vertically, and it sits just underneath the lip. I'll find and show you the lip somehow. There. Probably awkward to hold a camera and actually watch it on another screen. So underneath the display unit with the coin slot is where that box fits. So I picked up the unit 2 days ago and brought it home. Something was rattling around inside of it. Something I thought was a Philippine coin. There's a small Philippine coin that looks like a toonie, but it's too small. And I thought it had fallen into the guts. And so I got this home, and this thing actually opens up. And you can see a place where the coin falls down and goes along a slot here. And if I tilt it up like that, you will see two dimples, one there and one there. And behind those dimples are electromagnets. So what happens is when the coin slides down this slot, these two electromagnets detect what type of coin and what size it is. And they control inside this box electromagnets behind these panels, which open and allow the coin to fall and go through three slots: nickels, dimes, quarters. So the two solenoids control filters on these two. And if neither of those are invoked, then the thing is a quarter. If it's a dime, then the filter for the dime opens up and it falls into the dime slot. And if it's a nickel, that one opens up and it falls into the nickel slot. And that's how it works. And this is a plastic 21st century iteration of a gadget that's been designed and built for probably 75 years. So there's that.
Cool.
So I opened it up and I found that the Filipino coin was not a Filipino coin. It was one of the solenoids. Somebody had opened this thing. I'm going to try something really adventurous with the camera here.
Have you got the fingerprints?
Yeah.
Somebody opened that.
You think? I'm going to show you a picture if I can on my camera. There. Those are the two solenoids that are inside. The one on the right was intact. The one on the left was loose in three pieces. And what you're looking at is the top half of the picture is the circuit board and where the solenoids live. And the bottom half is the lid removed and flipped over. These solenoids are not screwed down to the case. They're actually floating loose, but the case itself holds the solenoids in place. So for example, this solenoid is loose.
So then they opened the box. It was a point of no return where the solenoids fell out.
Right. This one didn't, but it's being held by these two ridges molded on the inside of the case. This one, there are 4 pins in the corner of the solenoid, and they are held in place by 4 slots in the bottom of the case. So there were 3 parts. There was the coil, there was the plunger, and there was a spring, which you can't really see in this picture, but which is a very fine metal coil that they built themselves. So I put them back together, lined it all up, and shut it up. So that's been the repair, and that took about 20 minutes to figure out.
Do you know the circuitry seems to work, right? The top contacts were complete with the coils.
Well, I don't know yet because I haven't hotted it up. I haven't plugged it in. The unit lights up fine. The 2-line fluorescent display on the top of the unit works. It shows things. You can switch it from normal mode to bypass mode. It does stuff. What we don't know is whether that fix will fix it. There. That push button
Is that a coin release?
Yep. So it's now sitting on top of the release. And that's what it wasn't doing the first time. That's how I knew I was missing a part. All right. Here we go. I think the odds of this working are less than 10%, but a dime. Didn't even fall down. Where did it go?
So with these computers, with the Mac, they put this little transistor with 2 legs tied together. I don't know if you can see that. 2 legs tied together on one side of the transistor, and this is then mounted on the surface of the hard drive as a heat sensor. Go figure. They use these things as a thermal heat sensor. It's just a transistor. I think it's ingenious.
Well, it took the dime, but it ate it. I don't know where it went.
Well, put another one in.
I'm going to.
Keep going. More money.
I'm going to have to go see the chief steward.
Is that a long journey?
Yeah.
How do you know they have money?
They don't, but they've got my money. They've got a dime so far.
So this last hard drive I shoved in, I just zip tied it in to see if it'd work, and it's been like that ever since.
You have another hard drive in there that I can't see?
No, a previous computer I repaired. I just shoved another hard drive in. I couldn't. In this one, the mounts are missing. They went with the exit of the hard drive because people panic. They say, "Take the thing out of there. Somebody's going to win all my information." So they just rip it out. And fortunately, they don't rip too hard because all the connectors are still good. And then the thermal cutout is basically just sits anywhere on top of the hard drive to measure the temperature. And the previous one, this was ripped out, and the computer then goes and says the whole thing's going to blow up. It gives you these big warnings. It says, "Warning, you've got so many seconds to go, and your computer's going to melt down."
Did it call you Will Robinson?
It called me many things, and I had to reinstall it many times.
Looks like an ideal for a dab of hot glue.
Yeah, hot glue is okay. I'm just going to use sticky tape for now.
Until it gets too warm and becomes unsticky.
That happens too. But when you look at what Apple does, there's sticky tape on everything.
Really?
Yep. Even the new computers are glued monitors. They're just glued in with a kind of goopy glue, just like the iPhone.
Well, I'm going to have to get you guys some pictures of the project I was doing before I left Canada. I actually needed to protect the valves coming out of my 6 water storage tanks so that when it hit below freezing that I wouldn't lose the valves that held back individually 2,200 gallons of water. And I used a bunch of blue construction foam to kind of build a block around it. And excess was through a piece of 6-inch PVC with a cap on it. Started out, I put too big a light bulb on it, too big so much that it actually started melting the blue foam. And I've scaled down to a 7.5 watt incandescent bulb, the ones that are about the size of those little clown noses.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Indicator bulbs. And it maintains in freezing weather at 28 degrees, it maintains the area inside the cavern, which is 6 inches in diameter and about 8 inches long, at 104 degrees.
Nice.
When we took the, I had 25 watt in there first that I thought they might be a little bit warm. 158 degrees. That melted the blue, but at 104, it doesn't melt anything, and definitely nothing's going to freeze.
What size bulb?
7.5 watt.
And you got 104 degrees. How big is the cavity?
It's about 8 inches long and 6 inches in diameter.
Wow. That's a good solution. I like that. That's actually quite clever.
I'll have to show you pictures because it took me a while to come up with it. It actually insulated better than I thought. But I'm not going to ever have to worry about losing those valves to freezing.
Wow.
I do the same with my chickens. The chickens have a light bulb. They don't like to go down below -15 and they die. So,
Yeah.
so they have a light bulb. They had it last night. I wasn't sure what we dropped to last night. I think we went to -6 last night.
Yeah, it was pretty cold last night. Well, the news flash is the thing takes 2 toonies. It'll take a toonie and recognize it, and it'll give you credit for $2. So it now owes me $4 worth of photocopies.
Call up the manager.
That's right. The other thing is, it's kind of odd. I put a bunch of smaller stuff in, and I don't know where it went. I put a bunch of dimes and nickels, and they gone. It's not even rattling. I don't know what the hell happened.
Okay, now you're gonna find some serious money.
Yeah.
There's a black hole in there.
Yeah. I think there's a guy on Mars going, you know, these metal things keep falling out of the sky.
It's the nether. Fred found the nether.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I've got the nether portal.
So you might remember this. Do you remember Cheech and Chong's first albums?
Dave's not here. Where's that later?
Did I say Dave?
Yeah, Dave. No, I didn't. No, I heard
Right.
you, Cheech and Chong. Yeah. No, you were all right. I'm just aping you with the most famous Cheech and Chong routine.
One
Okay.
step ahead.
You know what? I have the vague recollection about Dave, but I'm not connecting it to the routine. Which one was Dave part of?
Oh, they're talking that, you know, somebody's knocking on the door. You know, the Chong has gone out for something and Cheech is at home and he comes back in, let me in, man. Let me in, man. Who is it?
Yeah.
I goes, it's Dave. This is short silence. Dave? Dave's not here, man. And it repeats as necessary. That's pretty much the whole routine.
I remember that.
12 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So
So
I'll stop riffing.
It's on, I think, maybe the same album, depending on which one.
Yeah.
So do you remember that routine called Up His Nose?
No.
So it's about this kid that his father is complaining about everything he finds, he puts up his nose. It's like he's got the coins and he's got bubble gum and it's like bullets and it's like everything he finds, he puts up his nose. And so he goes, I'm going to turn him up and shake him out and see if we can get some of that off. Next thing you hear is a bullet going off and then all the coins coming out. So that's what I was thinking of. That's what triggered that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing. There are these 3 cylinders and I can't really see into them. And they've got release buttons here. There's a release button for the quarter, which clicks.
Quarters.
Dimes, nickels. And so they actually theoretically cough the coin out back to the coin return slot. So it'll make change, but nothing's coming out. That's what I'm concerned about. This thing's really deep. I could put $100 worth of coins in here. I still wouldn't reach the top.
Sounds like you got to go to the bank tomorrow and start playing with it.
Yeah,
Well, we're all, as I say, we're all waiting for change.
yeah, that's right. Do you remember that Saturday Night Live routine, the change bank? Guy coming on and earnestly telling you all the wonderful things they do at the change bank. You bring in a 50, we'll give you a 20 and 6 5s. If you bring a $2 bill, we give you dimes and quarters. He goes on and on about all the things they do at the change bank. And the guy says, you know, people always ask us, how do we do it? How do we stay in business? And he ends the thing with going, volume.
It sounds like a Cheech and Chong skit.
Yeah, well, it was on Saturday Night Live,
Right.
the change bank. One of my favorites. Yeah. You got a $10 bill, we'll get a 5, a 2, and a bunch of 1s.
I'm doing some more vacuuming here. We got this fan here is absolutely loaded with dust. The hard drive's in, and so I think in another 10 minutes I'll get some action here.
Yeah.
I have a few things, and I have a few tools.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of stuff intrigues me, but it happened that my dad he collected a lot of stuff and never got rid of anything. And because that stole money and time away from me as a child,
Right.
I developed a lifelong resistance to it.
Yeah. I understand.
So I have been wholly in support of minimalist and, you know, having only what it takes, which makes it kind of a conundrum doing Repair Cafe and having the necessary tools. I believe in tools, but everything for me is kind of like one in, one out. So I appreciate having those resources around, as long as it's not in my basement.
Well, you're more of a survivalist. That's how I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Interesting.
The security's working. Is that what you're saying? Reject.
Doesn't even make it to the bottom. Now I've lost a tuning on the floor.
Oh, come on. The computer's not supposed to start without me. No, I'm not even ready yet.
Anyway, just to clarify one detail, until we bought this house, I didn't actually own a house.
Why is the computer starting without me?
So I had some accumulation, but
Options.
what the house gave me was space. And so I've amalgamated and collected, but you'd be surprised how little I collect anymore. I've actually got projects, like actual electronic projects going here. We have a product here, for example. So I understand the concept of the hoarding. The difference between me and a hoarder is I know what I got.
That's what my dad said.
Well, it's true. I actually do know what I've got.
Oh, I don't. I don't know what I got.
Here's an Arduino project we're building, and this is actually a commercial product. I've got 2 of these to get out the door. I've got units in boxes here. These are actually power monitoring systems for monitoring current in up to 16 circuits.
Yeah.
So what we do with that is if people get a hydro bill and they're sharing the hydro bill amongst various entities, like if you have an
Yeah.
apartment building and have a single bill, this allows you to figure out who owes how much. We actually monitor each circuit of the 16 every 6 seconds. Totalize it over an hour, totalize it daily, weekly, monthly, and you plug in a hydro bill. You say start and end and how much your bill is. We'll tell you how much each circuit's worth. Plus, which we can audit your hydro bill to make sure that you're not getting overcharged.
Yeah, can you
That's
get,
awesome.
make one for me? I'm getting overcharged every day.
Yeah, you probably are because you've got 2 levels of hydropower, tier 1 and tier 2.
Yeah, and I
And
got 3.
if you use 1200 kilowatts or 865, after that, you're going to get dinged for tier 2, but you don't. You take the 865 kilowatts at tier 1 and divide it by the number of days in the bill, which is 60 and a half.
I know. We're
And
all in.
what happens is that you, if you go over it in an individual day, you get dinged tier 2, even if you never use enough to go over again.
We're all in tears.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's unfortunate, but it's a fact. Is that a coin?
Hmm?
It's your
Don't
horse.
make-
Is
No,
that a
I'm
coin?
a new battery.
Oh, it's a battery. Good, because I could use the coin.
Sure. Well, let me just so Ubuntu's already in. I didn't even start this computer. It just says I want to go.
Oh, it's already running. Now,
Yeah,
which
I,
one?
I haven't even got the battery in, and it says, "Look, come on,
I
Hurry
saw
up.
a green light down there too.
hurry up, Wayne, get the battery in." That's the weirdness is when it can't register online, it just goes 1969. I just why does it go there?
Whoever built the ROM,
That long ago?
some of it,
Yeah.
what they do is, they build a lot of circuits and not, frequently that there'll be errors. And so instead of discarding the circuits, they'll sell them on the secondary market for whatever function they can get out of them. And a lot of times these things that people make have expensive circuitry in them that has been rejected or thrown away. And it's just they use the limited functionality of them.
Okay, we're up. Ubuntu.
Hey, that looks familiar. Well, what's it telling you there?
Just install. Just says, you know what? I haven't got a mouse hooked in, so I can do it the manual way, but I don't like doing it the manual way. It just says install Ubuntu, and then it runs you through all the steps and the programming, which is pretty straightforward. And then you can go from there. You just wipe the drive. I have a mouse that I didn't plug in. I'll just plug it in.
So did you even bother to check the contents of the drive before you started doing this?
No. No, there's no reason to check anything. That's the beauty of it, is that I've taken corrupt drives and it says, this drive is no longer functioning. It's lost, it's a hardware failure, it says. That's when you check, that's when you check the drive. What I do is I just throw it in and hope for the best. And when it comes up on Linux, it just says, do you want to wipe this drive? And you wipe it and it works fine.
Awesome.
So I'm finding out more and more about this. I'm not a computer guy. I'm just becoming a computer guy. If you're on screen, it's so easy to install. It's running on a USB stick. Once it starts installing, it just gives you the usual questions. Do you speak English? And then it says up here it says normal installation. and then install third-party software. This is where I went wrong before. So I just say install third-party software because that allows me to get my Wi-Fi back. The Ubuntu system tries to put in new software for the Wi-Fi, and that corrupts it. So then you have a Wi-Fi computerless, with a computer without Wi-Fi is almost a disability.
That's like a day without sunshine.
Absolutely, especially with trying to get on net or anything. So anyway, this takes a little while to just figure out that I don't want the Ubuntu software to run the peripheral for the graphics driver and the Wi-Fi. And then I should come up with a notice that says I've either got a corrupt hard drive that's no longer functioning, or there's a hard drive that just needs to be wiped. So it says here, erase disk, install Ubuntu. So that's exactly what I'll do. So now I'll install it and totally erase the disk.
And I'm trying to realize that it was just so different from what I was working, and I wasn't really sure how much utility I would have. So I ended up not really, I remember it was Santa Cruz SCO, Santa Cruz Operation.
Right.
SCO, I remember that.
Yep. It's just kind of those little pieces hidden in memory just popped up. But I think I took a semester of that. And then I toyed with it for a little bit, and I just kind of never went anywhere with it. And it's actually a big void in my head about working with Linux and so forth. I know that it's pretty straightforward. I hear people talk about it, but I'm just not up to speed on it.
I got it to work.
It works. It's very simple. It's nothing like it used to be.
As in not difficult?
It's not difficult. It's a little clunky. Some of the software, you just have to, write home about it, and somebody will write back and say, oh yeah, we use a different one, and you just download a different one.
Okay.
There's a lot of options, and I think the more people use it, the clarity gets so much better. I mean, basically what I'm doing is just rescuing an old computer.
Right.
And totally rewriting the whole software program on it, and just using the original facility and some old junked hard drive that could have come out of almost any device we use, including the TV.
So was this an Apple device before you started messing with it?
Yeah, this is an old Apple. I think it's from probably 2009.
Okay.
Maybe it's a little older, but with Ubuntu, it can go online. You can get Firefox straight away.
Right.
And that just, you can
do a bunch of stuff. You can get LibreOffice, which is incredibly useful. It's a full Microsoft 365 emulation, which is free and which is compatible with everything that Microsoft makes, and it also generates PDFs. LibreOffice is extraordinarily useful on Linux.
Yeah, but look at this thing. I mean, this was ready to just have a sledgehammer thrown at it, and now it's perfectly functional.
With that, I got the vending machine to work, but now it actually adds up correctly. Like it actually totals the coins, and I can spit them out. It'll make change. So I'm happy.
Excellent. Are we going to witness the solenoids working?
Well, I can throw coins through it. You're not going to see much because I need a third hand. I need.
Can we hear the solenoids?
Maybe. Maybe.
I want to hear the solenoids.
Oh, Wayne, you're such a pest. Well, you're a lot of things, but
we're what is it?
If you watch really carefully, you'll see coins go by. Let's see. 5 cents. Wait, there's more.
All right. Yeah,
That one looked like it went flying somewhere.
it did.
That's a quarter. Now these go right by because they're tunies. They go right into the bulk bin at the bottom, but it tracks them. I figured it out. It was the dip switches.
It's always the dips.
It's always goddamn dips. In the back here, behind this thing, we swear too much for public television. I do.
I'll talk.
There's
quiet.
dip switches. Okay. There's dip switches. It looks like hell with that red light. Without the red light, it's useless. Those dip switches turn out to be absolutely vital. Can you read them? USA, Canada,
Yeah.
$2 coin accept, and low 25 cent, whatever that means. That's what I monkeyed with. And if I reset that $2 accept on the right-hand side, it would take the twos as well. The problem was inside the Coin Pro was the solenoid in 3 pieces. And I believe the only way that occurred is somebody kicked it really hard and knocked it out. That's the only way I can understand that happened. Either that or some enthusiastic amateur like me got in there and monkeyed with it, broke the solenoid and hastily reassembled it and said it's broken. And I can't put a better answer because the only substantive fix I did was to put the solenoid back together and then reassemble it and unit and hot it up. And then this time, my first pass, it didn't work because the dip switches weren't correct. Now it works. And I put it down to the dip switches. The one thing I lack is the manual, the operations manual for this vending machine. And ITC Systems in Toronto, I wrote them, and I wrote the sales guy, and I wrote the company and said, may I please have the manual? And they ignored me. And it's not the first time that's happened.
No, they're careful with their rights.
Well, it doesn't matter. It belongs to somebody. It belongs to the library, and they offer you the chance. If you go online, it says here's the manual. And say, okay, download, and say, well, first you have to register with it. So you go to register, and of course they ignore you. So yeah, I'm close, but I have to convince them like I've got a giant stick and I'm going to Toronto. So there, we're 2 for 2. You're almost finished installing.
I am. I'm very close. If I had more time, I'd actually get it hooked up to Zoom, and you could see me on this computer too.
That's great. I'm so impressed. This is one of the epic fixes.
Yeah, well, it's up for grabs. It's another computer.
Yeah, I'm so impressed. This is an epic fix. There's no 2 ways about it.
No, I like these computers. You know, this is the first time I've even taken them apart. I was amused by the magnetic window.
Is that what you were doing with the suction cup where you had to start?
Yeah, you just put a suction cup on it, and it's the shit from the shower curtain, right?
Right. Love it.
Creative.
Yeah. If you went to Jameco or one of the electronic supply places, it's probably $35 and comes in its own case.
For a shower curtain suction cup.
But I tell you, the stuff we get to do, Nico, you got to get back here. We got to get you vaccinated and everybody back in the same tent. We got to do more of this stuff. Oh,
It's just time spent.
but you know what? There's something about facing a gadget that stares at you like a black monolith and besting it to actually get it to go, to do this. There's something about that is inestimably potent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a time when, if you remember this, when malware and spam and viruses used to be the new plague that hit computers.
Oh, you
Totally.
mean the blue screen of death?
No.
Yeah, and everything else. And so my computer, this Dell, actually this was pre-Dell. It was my Dell Dell desktop. It was pre-laptop.
Right.
actually went down because of a piece of malware. Well, I was sitting at it when it went down, and I watched it, and I went to safe mode, and I went in and know how to manipulate the registry. I got everything cleaned out, got it up and running, and then the process of that multiplied through a couple experiences. I learned more about the bloatware, what we call bloatware now, that's put on the computers. And so what I did, I actually lived in a community that had more money than brains on the North Shore of Lake Tahoe. Kind of similar to the Sunshine Coast, where there's an awful lot of transient people that own property but don't spend the time there.
Right.
So it's similar in that respect to the Sunshine Coast. So I actually fixed a lot of people's computer, which, you know, at the time they didn't know much about it, and they always opened the wrong thing, and then bingo, your computer is infected.
Right.
So I did everything from cleaning that up, you know, sometimes having to take it all the way down and build it back up as far as software goes.
Yep.
A lot of network installations and stuff. I did that for about 4 years. So I've learned a lot about it, but not so much tinkering with the hardware. I did, but not so much, but more the software side and rebuilding these things from completely getting annihilated by viruses and malware, and getting them running faster than they did out of the box.
Excellent.
So look at this.
April 1st.
April 1st. That's
1042.
That's the default. Some joker, right?
Well, you may have had a little peripheral power. Maybe that's where the clock starts, like April 1st, 1904. Well, that used to be a common date. There was a common date, and then before which they figured nobody would be alive. You know,
You don't think April Fool's is funny?
well, I do. I think it's hilarious. No, I get that. I get that. But
Is the rest of it?
That's in your BIOS. Like,
right.
Apple will start somewhere, and PCs will start somewhere.
So it just says remove the installation medium and then press enter.
Pull the USB stick.
So
Did you do that off of a stick, or?
yeah, it's just a stick here. It's just a Kingston stick. It's a bit big. Capacity wise, it can just be eight gigabytes. This is 32. But yeah, I've used this probably 6 times now. But the terabyte would be the way to go.
Well, it is convenient, but you know, it's crazy how fast the prices have fallen.
What's it called? Maxwell's rule, something like that.
Oh, no.
It's not Maxwell.
Who is it? The one exponential size difference?
Transistor doubling.
Yeah.
Not Miller.
Anyway, it was that guy who figured it out, right?
Oh, not Morton.
I'm sure many figured it out.
Moore's law.
Moore's
Yeah,
law, right?
Moore. Yep,
Yeah.
Moore is correct.
So with this install, the previous versions I did, and I just didn't have any. It didn't come up here saying Wi-Fi at all.
Right.
So I panicked, and I had to go through all the settings and try and find a hardwire system, and I spent hours trying to do that. So just really installing it correctly was the only thing I needed to do.
Best move. Turn it off, turn it on.
But I'm also not seeing the speed.
So when you get to getting connected to the internet, the first thing you want to do is check out Gibson's Repair Cafe.
Have you been updating it? Or are you just doing your typical spiel?
Both.
I'm typical. There's nothing typical in my in what I do. So I won't bore you with a 3-minute video, but anyway, we're online and everything's working.
That's great. It took you no time at all.